Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for coming back and coming to see me as I talk to you guys today about the story of the prodigal son. This is a really message that have been coming to me just from my work, and also as a Christian, I get to sit with other Christian women and realizing that this is it's an issue in our Christian community on how we deal with the people, or most of the time with our family member that maybe have walked away from God or have walked away from our relationship as a family. So I really wanted to come here and just talk about it because this is a topic that is so well deserved in our community. So the story of the prodigal son is actually comes from Luke 15:11 to 32. I'm not gonna read it's a long story. I'm not gonna read it, but I will, give a little bit of the breathing. So now Luke takes us back, when you look in Luke 9, it takes us back of how this story actually came for Jesus to actually speak on it. This is again, the story also started when Jesus was gathering his disciples to go and set up and talk to people about the new covenant of God. Jesus had in mind that he would send out people ahead of him who will go and prepare those cities that he will be talking to. So now Jesus was set up with the disciples. This was a long trip from the mountain to Jerusalem. Now Luke also takes us back on that this was nothing new in those Bible time. In fact, Moses was set up on a long trip himself from outlay to the promised land. David had a long trip where he was establishing the New Jerusalem capital. So this was something that has been done before. Luke is also illustrating on how Jesus is gathering people as a new Moses who is gathering people and renewing the new covenant. So as Jesus is sending out people and he's talking and gathering people, he's also, the other thing that I wanted to mention was that this Jesus was welcoming everybody, the sinners, the prostitute, the drunk. Jesus was welcoming everybody and having everyone sitting down, and talk. And this is like in our Christian life, we tend to be very judgy. When you see people going to church, you judge them of who they are or what they do outside the church, or we tend to be judgy, and we are looking. And in this story, the religious people are judging. They are watching Jesus and they are judging him. They are saying, if this is really the Son of God or the prophet of God, how come he's sitting with the prostitute? He's gathering up and meeting up with people who are really not appeared to be the people of God. Kind of what we do in today, 2021, what we do and how we judge people. So this is when Jesus come back. With his comeback was the story of the prodigal son, and I think we are all familiar with the story of the prodigal son. That a father had two sons. One son was obedient, was faithful to the father, and the other son chose, when the age came, he chose to leave the father's home and ask for the inheritance, and set up there in the world of in the world to have fun, to drink and meet women and do all these kind of things. But when his money ran out, he started to think and wishing that he would be back home, and he realized that he can work for his father, but still he would have clothes to wear and whatnot. So he go ahead and decided to go back home to his father. Now, the most beautiful thing that the story tells us is when the father saw him ahead of time, like saw him from the distance, and ran and gave him a hug. And when he was beginning to apologize, and the son said, son, you are lost, but now you have been found, and went ahead and, planned a party for him. Now, this is such a beautiful story, because the moral of this story is really showing us on how God's deal with, how God's deal or react with us when we are sinners. It shows the patient and merciful of God. When we look at these stories as a Christian, and maybe we are going through the same thing where we have a child that have run away from home or have run away from the word of God, are we judging this child? Now, the story also goes in and telling us about the brother, the older brother. He had come from a long walk, been walking and hustling, and he sees sees that the father has thrown a party, and he was really angry to the father, and he says, "You have never thrown me a party," or he got really angry. And the father's response is very beautiful. He says, son, you could have had a party. You are in the family. You are not us. You've been here the whole time. Could have asked. And that's when I say that a lot of us Christians, or we are like the older son. Yes, we are faithful. Yes, we are doing a lot of work. We are, we are putting in those hours. We are faithful. We are helping. We are doing all kind of things. But we also are bitter on the inside. We are not welcoming the sinners. We are not welcoming people who are different from us. When people fall, they don't have a way of a comeback. And this story, remember, Jesus is telling this parable to the religious people. He's not telling these parables to the sinners or people who don't know about God. He's telling this story to the religious people. Another story is Jesus was killed by the religious people. Us as Christians, as people who could be considered religious people, what are we doing when our child have run away from God, when our friends have run away from God? Are we sinning and judging and not expecting them to have a party, to have a celebration? Do we get angry when they are celebrating or being celebrated because we feel like they are sinners, they don't belong? This is why I wanted to come out, because I've seen this in my church. I've seen this talking to people during our individual sessions as a therapist. I've seen this, and I'm coming to you as a sister to you to avoid being the older brother. And look at how this father has welcomed back the son. It's how God always welcomes us back when we have sinned. Jesus wanted to show the religious leader how God sees the outside people. This is how God sees us, all of us, when as the father looked away ahead and saw the son and got excited. This is how God looks at us from the above and get excited when we turn around. And this, as my sisters, my brothers, this is how we need to look at the people that we consider the outsider. Get excited, run and give them a hug. Not ask them, what have you been doing? How did you do this? How did you waste the money? How did you walk away? How did you? No, run and hug them and celebrate. The Bible talks about a lot of celebration in the Bible. The first miracle was Jesus turned water into a wine when he went in a party. That should be something for us Christians to think about. Let's celebrate people. Let's celebrate one another. And let's not judge. Let's stop this whole judging behavior. Thank you so much for coming in, for joining in. Please, if you like this videos like this, I try to come in and give the videos. Please subscribe and like this video and join the family. Join me on a daily devotion.